When I moved into my house, I loved the fact that it had a big fenced-in backyard. It was perfect for my dog to run around, for barbecues with friends, and for a little privacy from the rest of the neighborhood. The gate to the yard opened onto an alleyway, which made it easy to bring in lawn supplies, firewood, and tools without dragging everything through the house. Of course, my neighbor Karen, the self-appointed queen of the HOA, decided that this was unacceptable. From day one, she complained. She didn't like the color of my fence. She didn't like that my dog barked when the mailman came. She didn't like that I left my recycling bin visible for 10 whole minutes after pickup. Every time I saw her, she was waving her clipboard and quoting rules like she was reciting scripture. But the situation with my gate took things to a whole new level. One afternoon, I came home and noticed something odd. My backyard gate, my gate on my fence attached to my property, had a shiny new padlock on it. At first, I thought maybe a prankster had done it. But then I saw the note taped to the wood. This gate must remain locked at all times. Alley access is not permitted. HOA, my blood boiled. Not only had someone trespassed to attach a lock to my property, but the note was signed as if the HOA owned my yard. I stormed over to Karen's house and knocked. She answered with her usual smug smile. "Oh, I see you noticed the new lock. It's for everyone's safety. We can't have people using the alley. It attracts undesirables." "It's my gate," I snapped. "You had no right to touch it." Karen shrugged. "As HOA president, I have every right. It's in the guidelines." I knew that was a lie. The HOA had restrictions about exterior paint colors, lawn height, even Christmas decorations, but nowhere did it say anything about alley access. Still, Karen smirked like she had won. That night, I took photos of the lock, the note, and my gate. Then I dug through the HOA documents I had saved. Sure enough, there was nothing about alley access. The next day, I called the non-emergency police line and explained the situation. They agreed to send someone out. When the officers arrived, Karen came storming over, waving her clipboard like a sword. "Officers, thank goodness you're here. This man is refusing to comply with HOA safety rules." One officer turned to me. "So this is your property? Your fence and your gate?" "Yes," I said, holding up the deed. "And she put a lock on it without my permission." Karen scoffed. "It's for the good of the community. He doesn't need access to the alley. Only trouble comes from there." The officer frowned. "Ma'am, you can't tamper with someone else's property. That's trespassing." Karen sputtered. "But I'm the HOA president." "That doesn't matter," the officer said firmly. "HOA rules don't override property law." That's when I pulled out a pair of bolt cutters. "So, just to be clear," I asked, looking at the officers, "I can remove this lock right now?" "Go ahead," one said with a shrug. With Karen watching, her jaw practically on the ground, I snapped the lock off in one clean cut. The broken padlock clattered to the ground. I opened the gate wide, just for the satisfaction of seeing her twitch. Karen started shrieking. "You can't do that. You can't just ignore HOA rules." The officer turned to her. "Ma'am, if you try to put another lock on his property, you could be charged. Consider this your warning." She looked like she was about to explode, but there was nothing she could do. She stormed back to her house, muttering about how the neighborhood was going downhill. After that day, the war between Karen and the neighborhood really kicked off. Word spread quickly about what she had tried to do to me, and people started sharing their own stories. She had told one family they couldn't have a small kiddie pool in their backyard. She demanded that another neighbor remove their bird feeder because it attracted pests. She even tried to fine an elderly couple for having a wreath on their door out of season. The more we compared notes, the more we realized Karen was abusing her position. So, together, we started showing up to HOA meetings. Instead of sitting quietly while she lectured, people pushed back. Every time she tried to issue a bogus fine, someone asked for the exact bylaw. Every time she made a threat, someone reminded her she had no legal power over private property. Eventually, the board had enough. Karen wasn't just unpopular. She was making the HOA look ridiculous. A few months later, she was voted out as president. These days, my gate swings freely. I even put a small sign on it that says, "Private property, no HOA access." It makes me smile every time I see it. As for Karen, she still lives in the neighborhood, but without her precious clipboard and title, she's just another grumpy neighbor with no power. And the best part? Every time she walks past my gate, she has to see the very spot where I cut her lock off, while the police stood by and watched.